The first time someone asked me, "Why are you still alive?" I thought I'd misheard. We were standing near the mailbox in my quiet Oregon neighborhood, rain misting the air the way it always did. The woman smiled politely, like she was commenting on the weather. I laughed, made a joke about stubborn jeans, and walked home. But the question followed me. At church. At the pharmacy. Even at a family gathering, where a distant cousin said, "After everything you've been through, it's kind of shocking you're still here." I had survived breast cancer, then ovarian cancer, then a truck that ran a red light and crushed the front of my car. Each time, doctors spoke in careful tones, as if preparing everyone, including me, for the end. When I didn't die, people didn't celebrate for long. They adjusted, then grew uneasy. It was as if my continued breathing disrupted the order of things. Alone at night, I stared at the ceiling, listening to the house settle, wondering if my survival had turned me into a question no one wanted answered. The house itself felt like evidence against me. Every room was filled with things collected for a future I was never sure I'd reach. A dining table for guests who stopped visiting during chemo. Closets packed with clothes for bodies I no longer had. Drawers stuffed with paperwork labeled important, though I couldn't remember why. One evening, after another comment, "You must be here for a reason, right?" something snapped. I realized my entire life had been organized around explaining my survival to others. Proving I was still useful. Still worthy of space. I opened the windows, let the cold Oregon air rush in, and started sorting. Sell. Donate. Trash. I sold the house to a young couple who talked excitedly about the future. I sold my car, my furniture, my wedding ring from a marriage that ended quietly during my second recovery. Friends were alarmed. "This is drastic," they said. But for the first time, drastic felt honest. With one suitcase and a bank account that represented the bones of my old life, I drove without a plan. South, then west. I stopped when I was tired. Ate when I was hungry. Slept without setting alarms. Without appointments. In small towns, no one knew my story, and that anonymity felt like oxygen. I cried in motel bathrooms, not from sadness, but from relief. I wasn't the woman who survived. I was just another traveler ordering coffee. By the time I reached the coast, the ocean looked endless and indifferent in the best possible way. I rented a tiny room above a bait shop. The walls were thin, the stairs creaked, and it was perfect. I walked every morning, letting the wind tangle my hair, reminding myself that my body, scarred and stubborn, still carried me forward. Living there changed me slowly, the way tides reshape stone. I volunteered at the local library, shelving books and recommending novels I'd loved during recovery. I learned to paint, badly, and laughed when my sunsets looked like bruises. No one asked me why I was still alive. When my health history came up, people nodded and moved on. One afternoon, sitting on a bench watching the water, a stranger asked why I'd moved so far from home. I thought about Oregon, about the question that had haunted me, and finally answered, because I didn't want to keep defending my existence. That night, I understood something simple and freeing. Survival didn't obligate me to anything, not gratitude, not explanations, not a grand purpose. Being alive was already enough. And for the first time, I wasn't surviving anymore. I was living.